I feel guilty about something that happened this weekend, which is really appropriate to what you're saying. I was really overwhelmed and I was upset and I was crying and but there was no one else there except me and my kids, and we were in a cab back from the airport, and I'd just been on this European tour and took them with me, and I was really tired because of not much sleep, and we'd been to 3 cities in 4 days, and I was just crying, and my daughter turned to me and was like, "Why are your eyes watering so much? Are you crying?" And I'm really regretting my answer, because I should have said yes. I'm overwhelmed and whatever, because that's like saying I'm a human being. But I was like, I think I'm just tired. I think I need to go to sleep. And I just feel like even that is like an example of where we go, oh, I failed as a parent.
Yeah. I think most of us go to bed feeling like we've done something wrong every day, which is just causing even more pressure for all of us. Like we're looking for this level of perfection in all areas that isn't there. And going back to something you said a moment ago, looking at the sort of disparity often between men and women in heteronormative relationships, when a man decides to take paternity leave or is a stay-at-home dad, which does happen here and there is immense praise. There is immense sort of highlighting of that individual. Like, oh my God, that is such sacrifice.
About in the book, yes. The woman who says her husband stays at home and she's lucky.
But then for women, it's not even like it's ignored. There can often be judgment on that choice. So you can't win. I think that's what it feels like. If you choose to have a career, or many people just have to go to work, that's the norm, then there's judgment on, oh, you're leaving your kids. But then if you do choose to stay home, or you're in the position where you can be a stay-at-home mum, it's like either, oh, good for you, or don't you want a career? Like, there's never an easy option for a woman in this situation.
You're judged in whatever you do.
Whatever you do.
And there's a lot of terminology, you know, particularly having experienced, as I speak about in the book, fertility treatments, that even at that stage, a lot of the language is like, there's a lot of implication of female failure. Mm-hmm. So they will say like your transfer has failed, or you failed to sustain this pregnancy when you have a miscarriage, or I think I've been told like that my uterus was what was it? Something like an uninviting environment or something. I can't remember the word they used, but it was like, it's all about saying like you're not good enough, you're failing. That's during fertility treatments. Then you like have a baby, and then it's like, did you succeed with your breastfeeding, or did you fail to develop a good latch, or whatever? And it just keeps going on and on and on. And it's the vocabulary that we're surrounded with that's all perpetually just punching us in the head. Like, even like when you get to reading age, and it's like, is your child reading? And you feel to blame if they're not.
Yeah.
Even if they've been diagnosed with whatever learning difficulties, you're like, it's my fault. I didn't have enough time to sit and read with them. Or maybe I shouldn't be so lax about it, or whatever it is. You just feel like everything's your fault. And judgment, like, yeah, my kid killed a ladybird the other day, and I felt like I'd failed, because I was like, I'm sure I talked to them about like how sacred life is so many times.
This ladybird, it's a ladybird that will tip you over the edge. If you're having a shit day, that ladybird is like, that is it. It's a symbol of everything going tits up. It's so, honestly, this is why I was reading this book. As you can see, I've dogged 8 million pages, because there's just so many bits where, like, I wasn't the sort of person that read many books about parenting before I had my kids. I just thought it's too overwhelming. I'm going to get really confused, or I'm going to end up feeling more guilty if I haven't followed this prescribed way that I should do things. And this is why I loved your book, is that there is absolute valid advice in there, which is coming from someone that is living and breathing it. But there's no level of judgment. You're doing the absolute opposite. You are getting rid of all this bollocky stigma that surrounds so many things to do with motherhood, and just going, let's get it all out on the table and talk about this. This is real for so many people out there. Let's just be honest about it. And the whole thing just felt like a breath of fresh air. Even going back to breastfeeding, which you mentioned a moment ago, and the guilt and the pressure and the situation where you can't win if you do or you don't do it. Are you doing it right? You're not doing it right. But if you are managing to breastfeed, when you're out in public, it doesn't even feel comfortable to get your boobs out and do it because people might look at you or you feel like you are being watched. It doesn't feel like there's any space just to be and be the kind of mother that you want to be. And I guess it comes down to intuition. You have to go on what feels right to you. But for many of us, our intuition is buried so deep because we are so bombarded, whether it is by books or by imagery on Instagram of sort of the perfect family, perfect children in clean clothes, all smiling and playing nicely. So the starting blocks are shit, to be honest. And we need to actually just go, what do I feel is right? You know, I know myself and my kid better than anyone. What do I know to be true? But it's really hard to get there when you're knackered and when you're overstretched. It's really hard.
Yeah, and you've lost perspective because you're so exhausted. You don't even know what's right and wrong anymore anyway.
No.
But I do think like the mindset with parenting is do your best.
Yeah.
And I say it in the book, like we all try and do our best within whatever our circumstances are. People have children in really horrific circumstances and they blame themselves, but all mothers try and do their best. And I think it's really awful to judge. Like, you know, I hate it when I hear about, you know, women who've had mental health issues or maybe their babies had to go to foster care for a bit. Like they're not trying to do their best. And it's not fair to go, oh, terrible parent. Like people are trying and it's difficult. So that's a lot in the book. But there's also stuff in it that I think is important that separates the woman from the child. Like I didn't want to write a book that's just about being a mum because the kind of whole premise of it is also about being an individual that also has kids but has another life. And also like the situation and journey of like going from being in a co-parenting, living together situation and then now separated and like this whole world that's opened up to me of insanity. Like just being a single woman again is mad. Because when I broke up with my kid's dad, there was no dating apps. And then I've like broke up with him and now that's the only way you meet anyone. And it's like a Wild West and there's so many mad people out there. It's just like weird, the whole thing.
And you're in the public eye, just to throw another spanner in the works.
I know, and everyone wants to go on a date with me, even if they're a good person, even if they're a bad person. Because if they go on a date with me, they might have a laugh with their mates. So it's like there's no filter really, because at least like if you're not in the public eye, people might be like, no, I'm not that. I don't really fancy you. But even if they don't fancy me, they still want to go on a date with me. So I get to like meet people sometimes who are just, it's obvious they don't fancy me. Mate, and they're just like, you're a famous person.
Oh my God, the whole dating app thing, it's absolutely... Was there a bit of you that was excited to get back into dating? Or to
I thought it would be
apps?
funny. I've never really been a dater anyway. I've never met anybody in that way because there wasn't apps before. I've always just felt a chemistry with people and then either it works or it doesn't. But I don't meet anybody in my job because it's just always buzzy and there's no one around. And people find me inapproachable, I think.
Because you're in the public eye?
Yeah, I think because usually in most situations I walk into, the focus is on me. So people don't really want to be seen to like approach me because it's intimidating. So then I go on an app to go, I am available. And then all the ogres and the weirdos and the baby reindeers just come out and knock on my door and they're all there. Come for me.
But I'm sensing like towards the end of the book, it seems that you found a certain amount of peace with being alone for a
Yeah.
period of time
Yeah.
and feeling into that. What does it mean for you, and what might you discover about yourself being
Yeah.
completely on your own? Do you think you are in need of solitude?
I do, but I've never done it, and it's like a thing. It's like a thing.
What's
for
scary?
me. I think so. I feel like being faced with yourself is difficult for anyone, and I'm somebody who's built a whole life of distractions from that. And like, I mean, people are like, how do you cope with your breakup? And I'm like, well, I wrote a whole album and a book because that's how I cope. And it's quite a sort of common theme with successful women, I think, that we just go, okay, what am I going to do? I'm just going to put my head down and produce something, whether it's a book, a baby, a painting, whatever, design a range of clothes, buggies, interior design range, like whatever it is that I've done is like, it's all a manifestation of unhealed trauma.
I'm glad we can laugh about it.